Elliot, before we went to commercial break, we were just wrapping up a thought on what we thought this cabinet could mean or what it might lead to in the future. Please continue.
Yeah, I was just saying that I feel as though this is an attempt for Justin Trudeau to try and win back a majority government whenever that next election does come around. And I believe today in a press conference, he did say that he does plan to be the leader of the Liberal Party at the next election.
Well, that's interesting because this is, again, his third term, albeit this one and the last one are minority terms, so you're sort of shorter than your typical 4 or 5 years and whatnot. But that's why some people have said maybe this is his legacy candidate. But yes, you've mentioned that he intends to stay on, so that might push some of those eager backbenchers or cabinet ministers who want to replace him to the side for a moment. Why don't we go through some of the names that might have caught your attention? Laurie, why don't you start us off? Who caught your eye here? You mentioned Jim Carr. Who else do you think deserves mention?
Well, the great fall, of course, was Harjit Sajjan, who goes from the defense ministry with a $24 billion budget, which is 7% of federal spending. And he goes to a new economic development agency with $100 million or 1/3500th of federal spending. He's going to have a lot of free time on his hands as he gives out a few grants every year, really a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, but
compared to where he was
I know
before.
that there has been a lot of criticism of the handling. Was it his fault? I don't know. But the handling of the sexual misconduct allegations through the military, through the Defense Department. So I'm not surprised that I have seen some kind of shift there. Would that be an appropriate assessment, Elliot?
Yeah, and obviously Minister Sajjan also is now the International Development Minister as well. So bringing that global lens that he picked up while at Defense to a new department, I think is a welcome refresh. Canada, spends a lot of money on international development, not nearly as much as it does on defense, to Laurie's point, but it is a projection of Canada internationally. And, it's time for that department to get a new set of eyes in there. And I think Minister Sajjan's going to do just that.
And there is definitely a new set of eyes with Anita Anand, new Minister Anita Anand, who she was kind of the vaccine procurement charge there. And she's now taking over as Minister of Defense. And so this is only the second woman in Canadian history who has taken this post. Good selection there, Elliot?
I think so. I mean, a lot of pressure on her as a new MP, new cabinet minister to deliver on vaccine procurements, and she knocked that out of the park. She's walking into another very challenging portfolio to deal with the sexual harassment issues within the CAF. And although she's got lots of experience on change management, culture change, she's got certainly a big task ahead of her. But I believe the Prime Minister and his office, think that she can do the job.
Okay. Do you want to comment on that, Laurie?
Well, just another name that dropped out to me was David Lametti, who's Minister of Justice, retains his portfolio, even in the wake of the great scandal with Jody Wilson-Raybould and getting kicked out of cabinet and running as an independent. She has got to be, pierced to the heart today to see him rewarded by maintaining his cabinet position, and she's no longer even an MP. So that, that I would say is not a real compliment to the government as far as I'm concerned.
But in some regards, one could say, well, he showed his loyalty to Prime Minister Trudeau,
that he did.
And when the going got tough, he got his hands dirty. Perhaps is that fair?
That
Elliot?
he did.
I wasn't surprised. I think there was some issues that were raised with in the 2015 to 2019 term. They carried over some legislation that wasn't still passed, that it was that I'm sure the government hopes to reintroduce with this term now in 2021. So perhaps the government wants him to finish up the work that he had started. So we'll see. Any other names jump up at you, Elliot?
Well, I think the big one for me is Mélanie Joly,
Yes.
Big promotion to foreign affairs. She is close to the Prime Minister. She is an important cog in the Quebec liberal apparatus, always front and center on ads and strategy. This is a big jump up for her. They feel very strongly in her, her skills in previous roles, but certainly big shoes to fill for Minister Garneau stepping back, and a great opportunity for Minister Joly, who very likely has leadership aspirations down the road.
Yeah, that was it. Definitely, it pleasantly surprised me, I guess you could say. She clearly worked hard and and she's proven herself. And now this is a huge portfolio for her. So it was some sort of reward, I believe, from the Prime Minister for her excellent work in the last few years. We're going to have to stop here for a moment. We're going to be right back after this commercial break.